All right, and we are live. Oh, let me go back into the full screen again. All right, we are live. Welcome. So I'm going to just jump right in here. So we are live out on some social media platforms, and I want to welcome everybody to my what I'm calling my Wellness Wednesday. Last week we had Lori Andrews on from Gene Keys, so you can expect that each Wednesday we are going to highlight. I like to call it spotlight on women in wellness who are showing up with their divine gifts that they've been given to um, show us what is possible, what they offer, how they're supporting other women, and really helping to raise the vibration of humanity and stepping into our divine feminine power and our divine feminine energy. So this week, I am just thrilled to have Janine Nichols on with us. So, a little bit about how Janine and I met, because we've just recently met, but
Yes.
absolutely love her energy and just her presence alone, you can see she's got a lot of great energy. And when you meet her in person, she certainly exudes that. And so, as I was doing the menopause events a couple of weeks ago, probably 3 weeks ago now, Janine was on the panel that we held in Fredericton. So I got to meet her, hear a little bit about her story. And you just have those soul connecting moments when you meet other souls that have a deep love for people and a deep love for humanity. And so I asked Janine if she would grace us with her presence on this Spotlight Wednesdays. So thank you, Janine, for taking the time out of your very busy schedule for showing up here today. And I'm going to pass it over to you. Please feel free. This is an actual just a chat so that women feel supported and know that they too can show up the way you and I do as well. So without further ado, Janine, please take it away.
I love this. Thank you, Catherine, for inviting me to be in this space. I love what you're doing. I also love your energy. And it was this magnetic, just like, okay, I need to be within your energy field. And I am just so in awe of what you are doing for women. And I think we need so many more women to spearhead some of these things so that there are women out there that are feeling just so alone in what they're going through. And that to me that's why I do what I do today. And currently I work as a women's holistic hormone health practitioner. And I'm predominantly in the online space because that's how I can reach people the easiest. Although I love doing work in person, I love presenting, I love meeting and seeing people. And a lot of this stemmed from my own journey through burnout. I live in Fredericton. I'm originally from Prince Edward Island.
Yay,
So,
Prince Edward Island.
yay! It's my home. It's always my home. But I love Fredericton as well. And so when I started all of this, I worked in the fitness industry for a very long time as a personal trainer, group instructor. And I've kind of had my own health journey of being in the fitness industry, being not completely out of it, but going through my own health journey as well. We all have different seasons of life.
We do.
And yes, we do. And one of the biggest seasons I think that of growth for me that I went through, and one of those seasons that I think felt the most challenging was when my husband had a near death accident, and I was trying to do all the things. So husband gets into the accident. I'm at that time a business owner, and then I'm also all of a sudden plunked in this role of being a caregiver to my husband who had acquired a traumatic brain injury. And life just changed. Life changed very quickly. And I did not have the best coping skills. Um, I had what I call superwoman syndrome
Yeah.
and trying to, very proud of the business that I ran and that I had built, and trying to take care of everybody else as well. And when he started to recover, then my system completely crashed. And so I had this 6-year journey through burnout, a lot of physical symptoms because of that I did not expect, because I was Superwoman. I was very fit, very healthy. This wasn't going to happen to me, and it did. And it took a lot of exploring and digging into my own health. And I know that you've experienced that as well, just the need to take onus for our health and really start to dive into, okay, what is behind this? Why is this happening? And almost rebuild and start from not completely new, but work on a different version of who we are. And then when I finally felt more healed, more like myself, I always say I'm never completely healed. I'm always in a state of growth and healing this body and in different ways.
Yep.
But
Yep.
I shared my story, and that's when women started to reach out to me. And I was very open about it. And I tried to come from a space of honesty and vulnerability, because I think that's how we can learn from each other. And I got all these messages, and they said, you're telling my story, and what should I do? And how did you do this? And there was part of me that, we had just moved here to Fredericton, and I didn't really have a career. I left my job in PEI to come here. So I didn't have anything to really transfer to. I had been working in healthcare in PEI with stroke services.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
the opportunity was there. The door had opened to be able to help women and sort of go back to what I had, similar to what I had done previously. Because when I hit burnout, I left my job. I sold the shares in my business. I had to.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to continue that. And that was very challenging for me. And then, so during that 6 years, I went back to school and I became a rehabilitation assistant. And then when I moved here, these doors all started to open, and it almost felt like, if it makes sense, a calling.
Of course. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes total sense to me.
You get that. And I just couldn't ignore it. I had this thing inside me that said, I've got the tools. I have my own lived experience. I did more education. And I said, I'm put here to help some of these women. I can't, we can't fix everyone. We'd love to be able to. But I said, what can I do with the information I have, with the lived experience I have? And how can I help women to empower themselves? Because during that time of my own recovery, there were a lot of moments when I felt really lost. Just really lost in this unknowing of my body all of a sudden, where I knew my body so well because of the fitness and living a healthy lifestyle. And then all of a sudden I was like, whose body am I in? I don't even know whose body I'm in. And how do I fix this? I don't know how to fix this. And, I just learned so much about how things like trauma, chronic stress impact the body. And then now working more so with the hormonal side of things, I still always go back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know you have similar experiences too.
Yeah, well, it's really interesting, like just listening to you, because again, right, as women, we feel like we are the only ones going through it, or no other woman is going through it. And sometimes women don't want to broach the subject about what they're going through because they feel failure.
Yes.
So that's been a lot of a reoccurring theme just over the 5 years I had the thermography clinic, right? Because of the expectations, the outside expectations that have been placed on women with, marketing and, social media with all these filters and stuff. And this woman looks this way and that way. And then all of a sudden, you've got a whole generation of women who are feeling less than. And
Right.
if they only knew just how powerful they truly are. And that's why I love doing these things, Janine, because it's everyday women like us, through lived experience, through passion for people, that we want to shift the paradigm. We want to shift the conversation. We want to shift, conversations in menopause, right? So, I'm just very passionate about that because, we arrive here with our adrenals already taxed out. Our adrenals were originally designed to help support us through this phase of life. And we won't get into that because I can go really deep because I'm passionate about it. But you said a couple of key things that I want to highlight for women that may have just missed this. Okay. Superwoman syndrome. I love that because it's so true. We just think we can do it all. Again, there's outside things that have happened over, generations that, have created that. And it's the world in which we live in. And instead of taking a step back going, whoa, right, boundaries.
Yeah.
How many women do you talk to, myself included, right, have had that struggle throughout life of putting up the boundaries because it's the expectation that we are here to do, raise kids, look after the home, look after this, look after that. Oh, by the way, go work 40, 50, 60 hours a week, have a career, do this, do that. Like it's just all these things, right? Like coming
Yeah.
at you.
Yeah.
But I love what you said about the superwoman syndrome, because also when women are going through this, if they have those key little, I call them like the nuggets of gold. So, superwoman syndrome, right? When you're going to do something and you're feeling like that, it's that trigger word that you can take a step back and go, oof, I am in superwoman syndrome right now, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing it. And then, your pain to passion story. And again, everybody has a pain to passion story of some sort in their life. It's what they do with it. But also, you talked about, who am I, right? When you're
Yeah.
going through these things, all of a sudden you're like, whoa, wait a minute. I'm eating healthy. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Why is this happening to me? But you see, I also believe, and I did a podcast on this yesterday on our Vital Health AM podcast piece, and it's the old versions of us.
Yeah.
And it's uncomfortable when you're going through growth because everybody
It
talks
is.
about, oh, growth and success and this and that. But what they don't talk about is the shadow side of growth. And the shadow side of growth is messy, it's uncomfortable, but also you can't take the old identity with you into the new identity that you're becoming. You just can't.
Mhm.
One has to die. And that in itself can be a struggle inside the body, mentally,
Yeah.
emotionally, physically, and spiritually, right?
There's
And
such a grief, right?
that's right.
Yes. Yes.
That's right.
Yeah, I think women, thank you for saying that, because I think women feel this same grief as they're transitioning into menopause as well.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Because it's a new identity.
it is. And do you know what, Catherine? It is funny because I didn't really touch on, so that was that season of my life. And now I'm in this new kind of another season of change. And I feel it, and I feel the messiness, and I feel that like, oh, this just feels so challenging because now I'm 49. Periods are all over the place and things are changing in my body. And I'm like, oh no, here we go again. And I know it's not going to be the same, but it's like, you go through different life stuff. Like my
Yeah.
dad was sick with dementia and then he passed away. And then
Oh, I'm
mom's
so
going through
sorry.
health challenges. Thank you. But, we all go through stuff like that. And this is
Yeah.
adulting and this is midlife and the midlife sandwich, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, here we go. Like again, like this is something new and something different. And who am I now as the woman who's transitioning into through the later stages of perimenopause into postmenopause? Everything's
Mhm.
changing. I don't know. For me, I know a lot of women talk about, and I know that there are going to be some women and they're going to say, oh my gosh, what is this girl even saying? But when we talk about the loss of our menstrual cycle, a lot of women are like, oh, I cannot wait. This is amazing. And I don't know if I'm just this little weird duckling that's like, I actually am really like that was part of my womanhood. And
Right.
I have these feelings about all of a sudden it disappearing. And that's a big change. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I love structure. I love knowing when things are happening. And now I have no idea when it's happening. And
Oh my goodness, a whole new identity is emerging, Janine, because being 54 and I still have what they call my fountain of youth because I'm still, having periods, which is usually
wow,
unheard of at
you're like a
54.
unicorn. Amazing.
Yeah. So like, um, but it's what's interesting, right, is there is such a huge shift, but also there's a lot of research, in Japan. it's not a doom and gloom. Like this season of life, like in North America, we are just so bizarre how we look at this change of season in life as this doom and gloom. Oh my God, my life is over. Oh my God, this, but no, this, when I worked, in thermography, Dr. Alexander Mostovoy, I love what he had said to me. And he said, Catherine, he had helped me a little bit because I was going through like these, one day feel amazing, the next day you're just like the bottom's falling out of it. And he said to me, he said, listen, he said, here's the beauty of when you hit this stage of life, all the things that you have suppressed of who you are, of the things that you truly wanted to be able to do, but maybe you couldn't do, all the things you didn't deal with, it's all coming out during perimenopause and menopause. It comes to the surface.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes all to the surface, but if we choose to deal with it or whether we continue to suppress it is dependent on how the new embracing and the embodiment of this new being. But there's a lot of research, beautiful, beautiful research out there that shows by the time that we're hitting the perimenopause and later stages of perimenopause into menopause, this is where our true gifts shine. And
Mm-hmm.
this is where the studies show that this is where women come fully to life in their full embodiment power and in their gifts. And you see, this is the beauty of the fact that this is the second half of our life. And this is where we truly shine if we embrace it. Because the first half, we were nurturing, having a family, getting married, career, kids, all the things that society tells you you're supposed to do. And
Yes.
now you're stepping into a new identity. And I say that, with a funny haha, but it is messy, right? And I'm not somebody who likes to, I won't sugarcoat it because it is messy. But what I want to share though, too, and I know Janine, you're going through it, you're talking to women too because of the work that you do. This is such a more important time to have community.
Oh, so important.
This season of life, it's not a time to withdraw and throw the blankets over your head. Because trust me, I've wanted to do that many times over the last few years of just
Yes.
like shut it all down,
Yes.
stay cocooned out here in my little cabin in the woods and talk to nobody, which also was scary for me when I was having those feelings because I need people. I am a people person. This is where I get my energy from, right? Is
Mm-hmm.
I need people. It's like a car needs gasoline. Well, I need people. So
Yeah.
when that started to shift in me, I'm like, whoa, okay,
Oh,
what is,
I'm so
but
glad
that
you
was
said that.
just, but that was just my system being afraid of all these other things that are coming, right? So, and then, and then really spending time with yourself because that can be uncomfortable too if you've never done that, but really spending time with yourself to go, no, okay, this is just the new identity that's coming and she's scared, but I'm the big sister here and I need to let the little girl know that she's okay. We got this.
Yeah.
Because we have we have gotten through everything that life has given us up to this point. So what makes us
Right.
think that we can't deal with this too?
Right. Right. And I think that's such an important message. And it's not that we're saying there won't be challenges. I think when, if we're saying that menopause is just this, and it is a beautiful time of getting to know yourself in a very different way, in a deeper way, and having more wisdom and finding your voice. I find a lot of women find their voice during this time. It doesn't mean that there aren't going to be challenges because, and I think we have to be mindful about how do we talk with other women about menopause, because sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes what I'm hearing is, oh, just wait till you get there, or, oh, menopause is hell. So what are we doing when we use that type of language, and how are we creating the feelings about what this phase of our life is? It doesn't mean let's just dismiss all of the challenging bits that can come with it.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, how can we focus on this being a time of empowerment for women and to step back into our feminine, like we had talked about just before we popped on here? Because what is has happened, what we've been seeing is that women are feeling that pressure to step into the masculine energy and be the boss babe and, run their business or do all the things, be the best mom, be on all of the
Superwoman syndrome.
Superwoman syndrome. And that we were just not ever designed. And it's so great that, we created this space for ourselves as women. It's like, we can do hard things. And it's like, I am lioness, hear me roar. And remember that little song we used to sing when we were little girls? Anything boys can do, I can do. Women,
Yes.
girls can do better.
Yes. Yes.
And so we stuck to that. And I think in some ways, we almost took it a little too far, because now sometimes we're too deep into that masculine energy, and we lose that balance of the softer side and the nurturing side to ourselves.
To ourselves first and foremost, right? But here's the thing that's so key, because when we lose the nurturing side of ourselves, we also leak energy all over the place.
Yes.
And
yep.
I also believe that, again, this is just my opinion, but I also believe that we've taken the power from our men in certain aspects as well, right? So you become a certain type of person. I mean, I was a single mom. I raised, my 2 kids. I was in corporate business. My son was into motocross racing. So I bought the big, 4x4 truck and, the trailer, and was loading his bikes and taking him everywhere and working on his bikes and changing the oil on his bike. You learned how to do those things. So you want to talk about stepping into masculine energy? Holy moly, did I ever. But when I look back at the person I was then to the person I am now, it's like, wow, like she was like rock solid. But also, being remarried 8 years ago to my husband, there was a lot of patterns that, because of over 20 some years being a single mom and being fully into that masculine energy of, paying for the mortgage, everything was on my back, right? There was nobody else there to help support, take the burden. I was mom, I was dad, it was all those things. And so then all of a sudden, in comes my wonderful, loving husband who wants to do all these things for me. And I'm like, what do you mean?
Now?
Like, I can do that. Like, and now
I am an independent woman.
And then, you go through perimenopause, and then you start to really look and you see the things that you're like, wow, what version of me needed to heal so deeply, right? But again, it's an exploratory season, right? I'm just fascinated when I look back at certain things that I've said or done or responded, and you're like, wow, what version of me was coming out there? So it can be fun. But Janine, like, bringing it back to all seriousness, what you said about how we speak about it, it's like anything in life. Yeah. It's the energy that you put around it, you will get more of it. So yes, ladies listening, there are symptoms that show up in perimenopause. That is your body asking for additional support. You are not deficient in Prozac.
Right.
You may be deficient in good quality methylated B vitamins. Maybe your tryptophan amino acids are taking a nosedive. All the things your body is asking for additional love and support. Okay. Yes. And yes, they are symptoms. However, your symptoms don't define who you are. So I really love how this conversation has come around, Janine, to the whole energy around what you focus on is what you see, and what you see impacts every aspect of your life. So if you look at this season of life as doom and gloom and, oh my God, that's what you're going to get more of, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. But I'm also going to challenge women to seek out women like yourself, Janine, right? Be around a community of women who are ready to uplift each other, see the beauty and the gifts that we each bring, have fun. We've forgotten how to have childlike fun.
We have it, and it's funny. I have a little online community called the M-Powered Shift. So it's M-powered, M for menopause, nice. M for midlife. And okay. We have group coaching calls weekly. And I also have another sort of expert in the nervous system who comes in every month. Her name's Carol Richard. And she talks about how to understand your nervous system, how to work with what's happening in your world so that you can know how to regulate the nervous system throughout the day. So she's just really helping, because I think that's such a big component of our wellness. And I know that you would definitely agree to that, but we were talking about the fact that, see, my brain just left me. What did you just say? This is such an honest moment. I'm so
You
glad
were
we
just
can't.
you were talking about like nervous system resets, and Carol comes in and the nervous system, and it's so important for that piece. I
I
know.
love
Listen,
these moments because they're
I
so
do too.
real. It's like it just floats like right out of the brain.
It's just
There
gone.
was something that, because we were talking about something we just said like a second ago. What were we talking about? Oh my stars, it'll come to me.
It's okay. Again, this is ladies, this is real. You are tuning in. It is real. We
It is
do
real.
not
You're not editing
script
this
this.
out.
We are showing up with real authenticity and vulnerability.
Like it's
So,
literally gone.
so yes, if you would like to be a part of our community, ladies, please join us. Okay. So let's do this, Janine. Okay. So if it
Oh
comes back,
my.
just pause me, but we've
I
got
will.
3 minutes left. So what I would really like to do is take the next 3 minutes, and can we share, like, I know you've got an online community, but you just have an announcement from the other day that I seen. I don't know if you're ready to share that yet or not. And if
Yes,
you're not, then that's fine. But
yes.
can we share like how people can get in touch with you? And then once this video is posted, Janine, if you can then post your contact information in the comments for people, that would be lovely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I will do that. I am on Facebook as Janine Nichols. I have my business, which I actually didn't even say that in the beginning. It's called Time for You Health and Wellness. It's
Perfect.
amazing how many times I say that during the day. When are you taking time for you?
Yeah.
And I am on Instagram as Janine Nichols. And so I have actually something that's very exciting in this new phase of life is that I was asked to work with she's my nurse practitioner and has helped me through my own journey of perimenopause and hormone therapy. And I'm still working through that world. But her name is Dr. Angela McGraw. She's a nurse practitioner. And her business is New Haven Health. So I will be working with her and her team and her patients to help guide them through lifestyle changes. And I can just see, I'm excited for where and I really have to applaud her because she has this really holistic view instead of just compartmentalizing the body into pieces. And I think that's so important when we look at it, especially a woman's body. It's like you can't separate the mind from the body or different body systems. They all work together.
They all work together.
Yeah. And so what she recognized was that she's like, I have time to prescribe the hormone therapy, to talk a little bit about like nutrition, exercise. But she said, it's not really in my wheelhouse. And I don't really have the time to go deeper into that and support women in that way. And she said, I can see where they actually do need that support. So that's going to be really exciting. And then I'll still continue the Empowered Shift community. And what I love about that is, especially once all of the women get really comfortable with each other and they have that trust in each other, we have some really beautiful conversations, very open, very honest. And it's just about talking about, what challenges are we having? I also do some teaching. They get to learn about their bodies and how they can best support their bodies through this transition. But we also have some very deep discussions about even the challenges we go through, and then moving those challenges into possibilities, right? So yes, identifying where are the challenges and what can we do about that? So what's actionable that we can do, because hope is not lost. It's not all doom and gloom. And there is so much we can do to support our bodies through this transition. And that's where I think, like you had mentioned, finding those communities is just so important. And I love that you're doing that. I love that, there's just so much more support in those areas.
There really is. And it, again, don't go to bed and throw the covers over your head. Search out and seek out communities, women, like Janine and myself and Lori Andrews and all these great women that I'm bringing on every Wednesday. Just, if something resonates with you, reach out, send a note. Sometimes just sending a little message that says, hey, really loved, what you said, or this really resonated with me. There's a spark there, right? And your cells are always
Absolutely.
listening. So
Absolutely.
Janine, thank you so much for being on here today
Thank
with us.
you.
I'm going to continue following you as well too, and your story and what you're doing in the communities.
Same.
Thank you for your gift. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for your vulnerableness and for being real today as well too on this call as we're talking.
Always.
It gives other women permission to be their beautiful
Yes,
self.
we
So
need that
thank
too.
you so much, my dear.
Thank
We'll
you.
talk to you guys soon. We'll see you all next Wednesday. I've got another very special guest coming on as well too. Thank you again, Janine, and take
Thank
care, everyone.
you.
Talk soon.